Hello everyone. In this video, we are learning about free body diagram. In case of free body diagram, we draw the actual forces which are acting on the body. So we need to remember 2 points to draw a correct free body diagram. The first point is the body which is under the consideration for drawing the free body diagram is independent of any other body connected with it. So we treat that body as a single independent body. Though we do not ignore the forces, but we treat it as a single body. So the body is independent. And the second point is, in case of drawing free body diagram, we draw only and only the real forces which are acting on the body. So draw real forces. So when I say the body is independent and draw real forces, what do I mean by that? So imagine this is a pulley, and with this pulley there are two masses, M1 and M2 are attached. Let's assume that M1 is greater than M2. So M1 greater than M2. Now we have to draw the free body diagram. So what we will do is, we will treat each body M2 and M1 independent of each other. So this one would be treated as one body, this one would be treated as another body, and we can remove this pulley from the picture. Though it's there in the diagram, but we will treat them as independent body. So now if this mass was here and the string was applying some force, we can draw the tension was acting upward. And of course, this mass is near the surface of Earth. So the other force which was acting on the object was M2G. Similarly, for this body, the tension was acting upward because the rope was connected with the pulley, and this rope was supporting this mass. So the tension in the rope is upward, and weight of the object is acting downward. So this is a simple free body diagram in case of pulley. Though we have not considered here the acceleration which is produced in the body, we will consider that when we will start solving the equation. Now take the another example of a free body diagram. So imagine this is a circle, and on this circle here is a mass which is rolling down this circle. So when it's rolling down this circular path, so up to this point at least, it may or may not be in contact depending on the velocity. But at least at this point, this mass M is in contact with this circular path. So what are the forces which are acting on this object? So the forces which are acting on this object of mass M are the two forces. One is the weight, which is mg, and the another force is the normal reaction, which is N. And we are not drawing any other force. Though this arrow looks like the another force. No, this one was for velocity only. Now the next example, we can take the example of motion of moon around the earth. So imagine this is earth and here is the moon, and moon is revolving around the earth, let's say with velocity v. So what are the forces acting on the moon? What are the forces acting on the moon due to the earth? So we can draw only one force, which is force of attraction, and this force is due to the gravitational pull. So we can write here F, and any other force is not acting this object. Now sometimes students, they get confused and they think, oh, if the motion of the moon is anti-clockwise, there must be force, so let's draw another force. No, that is wrong. There is no other force which is acting on this moon other than the gravitational pull. Let's draw the another diagram for an object moving down the slope. So this is the slope, and on this slope we have drawn a mass m. Slope here. So if this slope, this mass is moving down this slope, there are two possible conditions. Mass may be accelerating or mass may move with constant velocity. So if you have already studied about the mass moving down the slope, then you know that the component of weight pulls the mass downward. But in case of free body diagram, we are not drawing the component of forces. We should draw only the real forces. So let's say if there is friction between the object and the slope, then there are three types of forces which will act on this body. And to avoid any confusion, let me tell you, this is not the force, this is just representing the velocity. Now the three forces which are acting on the body are weight, mg, downward. The another one, normal reaction. And the third force is force of friction, and force of friction acts opposite to the motion. So the friction is something like this, F, S, and since the body is moving, I should not write here S, I should write here F, D. D represents dynamic friction. Now same diagram, but imagine if the object is at rest. If the object is at rest. So this is the slope. Here is the mass, and this mass is at rest. So when the mass is at rest, still there are three forces to keep the mass at rest. First of all, we have to understand that the net force should be 0. So one force mg is downward, another force n is perpendicular to the surface of this slope, and the other force Fs. Now I'm using Fs. S for static friction. Fs towards the upward side. So these three forces, now if you add them, you will find that they are cancelling each other. Their sum is cancelling each other. So the net force acting on the object is 0. So normal, friction and mg. So that's it related to the free body diagram. I wanted to explain you free body diagram and drawing some diagrams correctly. You can solve some questions from your textbook and practice it well so that there is no doubt in the exam. Keep preparing.